going to get this recording here very quickly. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me today. I'll try to keep this fast because I know that you're all very busy people. I'm warning that I have a bit of a cold, so if I sniffle a little, that's why, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum. It's very nice that you all joined me. I am the newest member of Social News Desk. My name is Jenny Kuglin. I'm the Director of Customer Relationships. Please feel free to email me or send me messages on Twitter. I love Twitter, hence why I am doing this presentation. And you can ask me any questions about this webinar, Twitter, or of course anything to have to do with Social News Desk. Just a little bit of my background. I am a TV person. I spent the last 10 years in television. I was a news director, executive producer, reporter, anchor, basically anything that you can imagine in newsrooms, I did it. My most recent job was as the general manager of the Fisher Interactive unit here in Seattle. I ran comonews.com as well as several other websites. So I've definitely been in your shoes, definitely pondered some of the questions I'm sure you have, and I'm here to help you and share even some of my own personal experiences with Twitter. Please follow Social News Desk on Facebook and Twitter. We do give great tips about social media and journalism. We try to do that at least every day. And during this webinar, feel free to use the hashtag SNDwebinar so that you can chat with people and ask questions. And if I don't get to your questions during this, I promise you that I will get in there and answer all of your questions once we are done here. All right, so Twitter strategy for newsrooms. It's a big question. I feel like a lot of people have a lot of great strategy when it comes to Facebook, but Twitter seems to confuse people just a little bit more. So that's why we're doing this today, and I hope that I can give you some really easy tips that will just get you going. All right, so on today's agenda, who uses Twitter? We'll talk about that, how Twitter can drive ratings, which is of course incredibly important. Getting more followers, not only for your station, but for your on-air talent. I hear this question all the time from reporters and anchors. They want more followers. And then just some very simple best practices that you can do today. All right, so who uses Twitter? Well, the Pew Research Center just came out with some new statistics. Actually, yesterday I got this, which was very helpful. And it turns out that people who use Twitter are young, they love their mobile phones, which is not shocking, and they are educated. So of the adults surveyed, 16% said that they use Twitter. Of those 16%, 8% said that they use Twitter to receive news. Of those 8%, 85% of them said that they receive that news from Twitter on a mobile device. Now, if you take a look at how that compares to Facebook, that's 20% more than Facebook, so much more use of mobile phones. They're also pretty evenly divided when it comes to gender, 50-50 male-female, where Facebook skews more female. They're more affluent than Facebook users, and they are younger. So while your current demo may be on Facebook, your future demo may be using Twitter or some other social media. So how Twitter can drive ratings. I truly believe that Twitter can drive live television viewing, and I will talk about my personal experience with that in a moment. But how does that even happen? What does that even mean? Well, people are using hashtags to talk about shows live. So these are some screenshots I took from the show Scandal. And basically, people are using this as a way to communicate, to have conversations while the show is on live. So it's a real-time group conversation. The way I like to think about it is like you used to sit in your living room and have a conversation with your friends and your family about whatever show was on air. And now you can talk with people in your city, in your country, and maybe all around the world. And that's a really exciting thing. So these group conversations are happening, and we can try to harness that and make those people watch our shows. So there is a real correlation between this online buzz and ratings. Nielsen has been tracking this. So 4 weeks prior to a show's premiere, there's a 9% increase in buzz volume online actually corresponds to a 1% increase in ratings, and that can be a big number. Now, that same increase of 1% happens 2 weeks prior to a mid-season episode with a 14% increase in buzz volume, and also 2 weeks prior to the show's finale. So we're talking about we're basically talking about some big numbers there that correlate with social buzz. According to Nielsen, 17% of people said they have started to watch a show because of a social impression, and 31% have continued to watch a show because of a social impression, which is pretty amazing. Twitter there's now Nielsen Twitter TV ratings, and this is to track the online buzz and to acknowledge that sometimes the way that we track ratings right now is not tracking exactly how much people who don't have boxes are watching it or how much they're talking about it, which means a lot to advertisers. So this is now my personal experience with using Twitter to drive ratings. I saw that this was happening, and I was like, how do we harness this and really make it so that people are watching Como when they're watching shows? How do we take this conversation? And I saw that people were using The Bachelor and The Bachelorette hashtags a lot, and these are popular shows that skew young, and also they were a lead-in into our 11 o'clock newscast. So we decided to come up with the hashtag Live on Como. And we started telling people, hey, watch shows with Como when they're on Como. And our web people started using it, some of our anchors and reporters, and we used it for prime time, but we also used it for news. But to really sort of ramp this up, we threw a Twitter party. And we invited people with a lot of Twitter followers, as well as some of our anchors and reporters. And we all watched The Bachelorette together and tweeted about it. And it was just a fun thing, and we had a sponsor, and, it was also a way to make money. So we did this, and we worked with Nielsen very closely to track it. And I've got the stats there on the screen. We did this in 2012. The Bachelorette on Como premiere compared to 2011, women 18 to 34 were up 31%, men 117%, and total people 38%. That was also the lead into our newscast, which was a large part of doing this. So that night, women 18 to 34 in the 11 p.m. Como News were up 92%. Men were up 180%, and total people up 122%. Those are huge numbers that made us really excited. Now, of course, you can't for sure track that it was the person with the box who was using Twitter, but those numbers remained pretty consistent throughout the season, and Seattle was the top-rated city for The Bachelorette that season, and Nielsen agreed with us that it had a lot to do with this effort on our part. There's other things you can do to drive ratings. This is an example from King 5. They solicit UGC from viewers, user-generated content. They compile these beautiful sunrise pictures and then show them on air. And it's a great way to say, show us your photos. They retweet it, and then they also put it on the newscast. So how do you get more followers? How do you make this happen, whether you're a news station or an on-air talent? So a first easy thing to do is to really use hashtags correctly. So join more hashtags. I took this screenshot of my Twitter page this morning, excuse me, just to see what people were talking about. And so there's the list, and you just look over there. You can set it to your city if it's available. And people are talking about Obamacare, which is not a big surprise. So what you want to do is when you see the hashtag that people are using or what people are talking about, and you're doing a story on it, use that hashtag in your tweet. So if you use the hashtag Obamacare, what can happen is then people come to Twitter, they say, hey, what are people saying about Obamacare today? And they click on that hashtag. And then all of the people using the hashtag show up. Now, if this is a local story and you come up with a local hashtag, when they click on it and you're using it, it's very likely that your tweet with a link to your site will be the first thing they see. So one, if they're not following you already, they'll see you on there and hopefully follow you, or they might at least give you a click back to your site. You can also create hashtags. You can join them or create them. So brand some ongoing breaking and developing news that you see happening. If you know there's a big trial starting like the station Fox 59 had, they came up with the hashtag and then consistently used it. So be the first station in your city to decide what you're going to call things and then watch everyone else follow you. It's really great. And hopefully you'll be that first link at the top when people go to search. You can really help your staff know how to use a consistent hashtag. Within Social News Desk, we have that station notes feature. So you can go in there and say, hey, everyone, for this snow coverage, use this hashtag to make sure that everyone's on board. I often see people being a little bit chaotic and sporadic with their use of hashtags, and consistency is really important. The other great thing about Twitter is it sort of has a culture of humor. So it is okay to be silly or funny, of course, when appropriate. Two of the examples that I have here, when President Obama visited Seattle the last time, there was a very large sonic boom. And so we came up with the hashtag Obuma. And so everyone started using that. You see all of these different news outlets using that Obuma hashtag, or Snowmageddon. They're just a little bit silly. Nothing serious happened, but people really like it. And then you'll watch your whole town join in, and you were sort of the leader on this trend online. So another way is calls to action, they really, really work. This is another example from King 5 because they're very good at this. This is a very simple thing. Everyone loves the Seahawks. Retweet if you're in, 12th man Seahawks, and then they have this little I'm in graphic that they made. And that got 126 retweets and 22 favorites. And I can't really think of the last time I saw mini station tweets getting that much of a reaction, especially from something so simple. And so hopefully all of these people retweeted that, and then their fans saw it, and then went and followed King. We also at Social News Desk can help you with contesting. We mostly focus on Facebook contests, but we are able to help you with some Twitter contests. This is the ability to basically tweet out a link to a contest, and then you can also gather information from the people, and you can even ask them about hashtags. So if you have any ideas about wanting to try a Twitter contest, just let me know, and we can brainstorm about what might work for you. And as we know, contests always work really well to get fans and followers. To help your reporters and anchors, if you have the big brand voice as your station account, make sure to retweet them and talk about them with your main account so that you let your followers know that they exist. A lot of times we kind of ignore their accounts and then they have a tougher time growing their fan base. So this is just an example of Pix 11 retweeting one of their reporters with a major story. All right, you've maybe seen there's split ideas on whether or not this is a good idea, but I'm going to put this out there, team follow back. So a lot of people will say, hey, if you follow me, I'll follow you back, and that's a way to grow audience. This is Jenny Hogan. She was an on-air personality for a long time in news, and she was an early Twitter user, and she was definitely team follow back. You look there and see that 62,000 people follow her, and she follows 48,000. What you see a lot of times is an on-air person with a bunch of followers. They don't follow anyone. But people want to be followed. They want to engage with you. They want to feel like you care about what they have to say as well. So if you feel comfortable, follow more people. And it's really helpful in hearing what is going on in your community. I really view Twitter as just sort of standing there and listening to a bunch of people, talking and gossiping, and you can get a really good idea about what people are talking about, even if they're not news people. They're just people in your community. You can hear what they're talking about today. Maybe if they're all talking about the change in weather, that's a good indication that that's what you should be talking about on your newscast. It can be overwhelming to follow that many people, so that's where Twitter lists really come in handy. You can make lists on Twitter, also within Social News Desk, to sort of segregate people into, here's my news organizations, here are the authorities, and here are just random people in my town, if it becomes overwhelming to try to listen to all of that at once. And that's a way to follow more people, but stay sane, which is really important. Also engaging more often. This is a screenshot from Kyle Dyer, 9 News in Denver, where she said back to a viewer, hey, I love you too. So it's just seeing people be human and responding. I see all the time people talking to our on-air personalities on Twitter and not a lot of response. So the more you get in there and really talk to people, the more likely they are to watch your newscast, and also that their fans and followers will see that they're engaging with you, and then hopefully that will get you more followers. All right, so what are some quick best practices that you can do today? Post more pictures. It just grabs your attention. I mean, so much more than just text. And Twitter has actually changed their feed so that the photos are showing up right away in the feed. You don't have to actually click on the photo anymore. So it's more like Facebook in that way. So you want to stand out from the crowd of just headline link, and really grab my attention. So from Twitter, they say that tweets with media receive on average 3 to 4 times more engagement than those without media. So it really, really works. And in case you didn't realize it, in your social news report and social news desk, we show you what kind of post your staff is doing in the last 24 hours. And you can see, are you doing, half text posts, half photo posts? You can see if you're doing the percentage that you would like your staff to be doing. So we've told a lot of you this, but just some quick best practices. 1 to 4 posts an hour at least on Twitter is really working. And then some of the highest volume times are the really inconvenient news times of Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, noon, 5 p.m., and 6 p.m. So again, use more hashtags and be consistent. Get in there and really figure out what conversation you could be joining your community, and create your own and stick with them. It's a really fast and easy way to just improve your account and get more people to it. Add those calls to action. Go ahead and say, please retweet. Go ahead and ask people to share. Go ahead and ask them to click on this or to watch live. asking for retweets will get you 50% more retweets. Of course, you can't do it every time, but do it when it's important, like this one, which was, a recall or a contamination or missing, someone wanted, lost, or needs help. All of those times that you would say it on Facebook, you can certainly say it on Twitter. Another thing you can do, of course, is promote your Twitter accounts on air and promote your hashtag. This is an example from Denver. You can do something that bold, or maybe just put it above your bug in the corner of the screen. We've seen a lot of people doing that. There's no reason that you can't also do that during your newscast if you are using a consistent hashtag to let people know that they can use it to engage with you in the conversation. Make sure to use urgent and breaking language when appropriate. Again, you want to just avoid that constant headline link way of doing things. It can look almost spammy and certainly boring. So make sure to use breaking news, developing news, update, this just in, just to vary it and to let people know it's important, because people on Twitter want to be the first to know. They're very fast and they're very savvy, so make sure they know, hey, give this to your friends because you'll be the first to know. And then overall, the hardest part, but the best thing that you can do, is to just be more human and less robotic. If you have just a feed going from your website with headlines and links, sure, it works, and people click on it, and it's sort of the bare minimum. But people really want us to be humans, whether it's on TV or online. I like this example from Denver. They're showing this snake. They could have just had the headline. Instead, they're saying, hope you're not afraid, showing a picture, having a personality. And again, King 5, because they do a great job, saying, yeah, baby, because the Hawks won. And that's, that's not formal newspeak, but people really loved it. And as you can see, are responding, favoriting, and retweeting. So that's a really easy way to just get more engagement, is to make sure that you don't treat Twitter like you don't have to pay any attention to it. Facebook drives a lot of traffic, but Twitter does as well, and the audience is only growing. So that is pretty much what I have for today. So I am now going to try to give a chance to see if you guys have any questions. So just one moment here. I'm going to unmute you guys if I can. All right. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in that chat box below there, or try talking and I will see if I can hear you. Nope. No questions. Okay, well, I think there are some questions that were on Twitter, and I will try to get to those as soon as possible. But we'll also be, I recorded this, and I'll be putting this link on YouTube and then sending it out to all of you, so you can feel free to share it with your staffs or anybody who you think can learn from it, or just tweet it out. And again, please follow me on Twitter, and don't be afraid to ask me questions. All right, so thank you guys very much. And we're done here. Thank you.